Is this that moment? The arrival of the Pulsar 250 twins has made the air heavy with anticipation and questions. Because the Pulsar flame that exploded onto the scene 20 years ago has burnt a bit dimly in the last few years. So is this that moment when we say the 250 twins have brought Pulsar back? And what does that mean for the new rider? The Pulsar DNA was crystallized with the 220F, an iconic motorcycle that combined muscle and raciness. And well, with the 250s now, you see that they're following a similar theme. The F250 is an evolution, not a revolution. It is half-faired, backs a projector headlamp with ultra-bright LEDs. There are floating panels to give a sense of raciness, and it borrows from the NS2 in the way the extensions flow into the tank. The flared panel around the seats and the stubby exhaust add some mass to the otherwise slim rear. To be more modern, it had to be tauter, and it does feel so. But we were hoping for a bit more maturity in the way the graphics were used. And while it may not seem so obvious at first, all the contrasting shades, the darker shades here on the red, the use of the color lines feel unnecessary. They're not really helping this Pulsar look better. It just makes it look busier, along with those mesh finishes and textures on the panels. I wish it was a bit quieter on this front. The good thing is though, that the N250 is. The N250 is just like the MT15, the F250.
Except that it gets...
Up here for the face, the LED DRL treatment is a bit different, and the side panels, of course, are a little bit more minimal. It gets a tubular handlebar, but what it manages to do is show off that Infinity instrument cluster so much better because it doesn't have a fairing and a visor.
It's a simple display with an analog rev counter and a digital speedometer. There is a gear position and range indicator as well. But there's no Bluetooth connectivity, no turn-by-turn navigation, just a very handy USB port. So it's updated but not exactly modern.
In terms of design, are they going to wow you? Well, not quite. And we do wish, in terms of fit finish, these were also setting the benchmarks. Right now, there are a few panel gaps and shut lines which we think could have been better. And in terms of features too, these Pulsars aren't really making a noise. So how exactly do they plan to make a noise? Well, the Pulsars, they're really meant to thrive on the streets. So I actually better get changed. What's back is the classic Pulsar formula, because this has a simple air and oil cooled engine with a 2-valve head. It isn't a short stroke engine, but it has the most displacement we've seen on a Pulsar to date. 250 cc's, and it gives you as much power as the NS200, which is a liquid cooled engine, while giving you more torque, 21.5 Newton meters.
There's a slick gearbox with a light clutch, which are absolutely city friendly. Incredibly, the sound and sensations are oh so 220.
As promised, this engine does have a lot of torque, which means you can leave it between 3 and 4,000 RPM for all your city duties, leaving it in 4th gear, 25 kilometers an hour. Easy. But then remember, this is a Pulsar. Along with that torque, it also has that slightly raw, mechanical nature, and it is something that you will enjoy. It reminds you of Pulsar DNA and what it stood for. Yes, it has only 5 gears, but the performance isn't lacking either. So if you're planning to do long distances, even with the pillion, you'll find this engine does deliver grunt and will let you relax on the highway for touring purposes as well.
With 14 liters of tank capacity and a claimed fuel efficiency of 39 kilometers per liter, the Pulsar 250 is apt for highway use too. On the highway, the F will provide better wind protection, making it the better all-rounder. But both are on par in other terms.
its seat height is 795 millimeters, but it's really slim. So as you can see, getting your feet down flat, even for somebody like me who's 5 feet 6 inches, is really easy. And on this N250, you get that single piece handlebar, and it gives you a slightly forward set stance. The bars are nice and wide, gives you a muscular feel, which is very enjoyable in my books.
Incredibly, the ergonomics on the F are better for commuting as well because the clip-ons are higher and closer to the rider.
The Pulsar 250 comes with telescopic forks up front and a monoshock at the rear, and the tires are upsized now on par with the NS 200.
Bumpy concrete roads are soaked up without a hiccup, but it's taut, not plush. And both rider and pillion are treated to spacious seats. But there is one thing that will keep you from getting comfortable on the Pulsar. There is no dual channel ABS on offer, even as an option. This makes absolutely no sense.
The grittiness of the Pulsar will really be tested on the track because it will have to make the most of whatever it has.
It has a tubular frame that uses the engine as a stressed member.
And it is 3 kilograms lighter than the perimeter frame on the NS while being stiffer for the most part. It has wheels that look like they're from an NS but say 500 grams at each end. It's got 300mm discs, but these are from Yamaha, a new brand from endurance, and its tires aren't the widest in the class. The engine isn't the most powerful. It does get a slipper clutch, but how does it all add up?
It delivers! Bajaj claims a true top speed of 126 km an hour, but we saw the speedo indicating 143, which was a true top speed of 135 on the V-Box. Clearly, Bajaj has been sandbagging because in our V-Box tests, the Pulsar went from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds and 0 to 100 in 10. Incredibly, this is much faster than Bajaj's claimed time, and we saw multiple runs that were under 11 seconds. The Yamaha's performance was good too, stopping from 100 km an hour in 54 meters. However, the feel of the levers was inconsistent.
Now these MRF tires might not be the widest, but they are giving you a good sense of grip and feel as to what the motorcycle is doing, and for most riders, there's plenty of grip on offer to push, have fun without worry.
The faired Pulsar cuts through the air better, and the added weight of the fairing also makes it more stable than the naked version.
In terms of handling, well, it does feel flickable, but in terms of precision, it could be better. I think the NS is a motorcycle that you can place far more easily and commit more with more often.
Be it on the track or on the road, the F comes across as the more complete Pulsar 250. Its price, looks and performance mark it out as a worthy successor to the 220F. The N250 has a tougher job as it also competes with the cheaper NS200 and TVS's solid RTR. But it's important to note that this is a new type of Pulsar, one that doesn't have segment first and benchmark setting mechanicals to wow you. Instead, it's towing a line that is more rational than emotional. So, Pulsar is back, but just not how we imagine.